Recording. Here we go. Live on the air. Welcome to Craft Beer Blab. How's it going? My name is Gunnar, professional amateur cyclist and craft beer nerd.
Definitely good. Yeah, no, I was kind of in a little bit of a conundrum this evening, and I was trying to figure out what would be a good choice of beer to bring.
Right.
And I think I certainly picked something out, but I'm awfully anxious to figure out. I saw you kind of teasing about a couple choices. So what exactly do you have for our audience this evening?
Okay, so I have, this is a new one to me, so it'll be a brand new review. It's Deschutes Brewing Hop Trip.
Nice.
It's I think it's an American pale ale that is fresh hopped. So similar to, was it last week or the week before that I had a Surly Wet, and that was a fresh hopped ale also, although that was an IPA. So we'll see how this turns out. You know, they're saying that there's hints of citrus and grapefruit, and I really like that in a beer. So
Awesome.
what did you end up getting this round?
Well, you know, I have to tell you, we have an awesome brewery in town called Three Heads Brewing, and
Awesome.
this is mighty. I want to say mighty. It's double skunk.
Wow.
And it's an imperial black India Pale Ale. So definitely you can. I think probably I could run my lawnmower and my car, and maybe coat my chain on a mini bike. I don't know,
Right.
so again, it can just give you kind of an idea.
Wow, that pours pretty dark. Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's it. But it's surprisingly though, the taste, it is it has a very smooth, sort of almost like a smoky finish to it. I think that's kind of where they derived the kind of the double skunk. I mean, I was a little intimidated by the name of it.
Right.
But after looking up some of the reviews on Untapped, and talking to a couple of my friends that were interested, they said that's a great choice. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, it's probably a bit dark than what I would normally try to consume. But I mean, again, this time of the year, it certainly lends itself to being a good fall winter beer. Hoppy Trolly in the house.
What's up?
Great to have you.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining.
Sorry about the technical difficulties last week.
Nah, it happens. Believe me, we've had some serious debacles. Just we portray the fact that we look professional. We're just, you know, we're train wrecks in disguise.
That's what I do on the tours.
Exactly. Right.
I pretend I'm a professional.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what are you guys drinking?
I have a Deschutes Hop Trip American fresh hopped IPA.
Okay.
Going out of state this time. I think was it last week or the week before I had a Surly Wet. That was really good.
Yeah, it's good. I've had it. I'm having a IPA from Fair State.
Fair State. Okay.
Local Northeast brewery. Yeah, it's my favorite IPA. So, just really balanced, not too hoppy. It's really accessible. Really good color and flavor. So
nice.
Yeah,
and that was Fair, FAIR, Fair State.
Yeah, just like State Fair, only backwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
because you guys are, you know, not to sound like a damn Yankee here in upstate New York. We live we live a slightly sheltered life. I know that a number of weeks back, Gunnar was, look at that, nice. Gunnar was talking about Surly and a couple breweries I know in Rochester, Minnesota.
Yeah.
That I have yet to see in this area. We do have a couple pretty boutique beer distribution houses that I try to go to, and they may be able to help me out. But that is another beer that I'm certainly going to add to the list as well. So I do like always broadening my palette of offerings. So let's get into it. Hoppy Trolley. I know, aside of our technical difficulties in the audience tuning in now, thanks for joining Beer Chat. Hoppy Trolley offers a fairly unique product in that they let you have the good time, correct? And they kind of take the rest of it. And that's about as much as I was able to glean from my conversation with Gunnar. So I'm certainly not here to steal the thunder. So jump right in and give us sort of a little bit of a 411.
Well, basically, just to start at the beginning, I've been a tour guide in Minneapolis for about 8 years. I've done Segway tours, walking tours. I was driving home from work about 5 months ago, bitching about making other people money. And my wife said, well, start your own tour. Oh, nice. And I said, yes. And then my wife took off, as she does. And we had a bus within 2 weeks, and we were giving tours 2 weeks later. And basically, it's just because for those who don't know, if you're listening, the Minneapolis brewery scene has exploded over the past 3 years. Basically, thanks to Surly Beer.
Yes.
Because they sponsored a bill that allowed microbrews, basically, there's a little more to it, but they basically allowed microbrews to serve pints instead of just selling growlers and kegs. So we went from about 12 microbrews to about 50 in a matter of 3 years.
Wow, nice.
So I just thought I'd have to start a service, because my tour guide experience, just drive people to a few breweries, talk about the cities, talk about the breweries, give them one free beer and one free pretzel from Aki's Pretzels, which is also local, Northeast. And if you haven't been there, absolutely the most insane pretzels you've ever tasted in your life. Authentic German bread house. The guy who actually works there, Aki, he's actually German, which is awesome because he makes fantastic food. A little bit of a language barrier sometimes, but it's actually he's an amazing baker. So we go to 3 different breweries on our tours. We do 4 public tours a week: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we do private tours for 8 or more people. Then you can pick your breweries, and you can choose your pickup location as well. So, and it's been going really well so far. I mean, we've only been open for about 5 months, like I said, but nice. If we didn't have to, buying a truck and then getting it, those are my twins crying in the background right there.
Nice.
No, it's all good. It's all good,
we had to spend a lot of money for the truck and for DOT certification and things like that. When for that, we're making money right now. We're sort of paying off our initial investment right now, but we're looking at probably paying that off in the first year. So.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Awesome. And I'm on your site right now. I see the beautiful wrapped craft brewery tours, Hoppy Trolley bus.
Yes.
And you guys are on Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter. Looks like Yelp, Instagram, Pinterest,
TripAdvisor.
Man, that is fantastic. So that's some serious clout. Now, do you find that I have a couple clients that I work with on some social media and whatnot. Are you interacting with those folks? Are you letting them know that you exist? Because, like, for example, I know that lately I don't know, you probably may not be catching wind of them. I mean, there's a big I Love New York campaign, and there's a number of famous actors that say, I live in New York State and I love this and I love that, and I go here and I go there. Man, I don't know what an opportunity that it would be for maybe you to tap into that Rochester, Minnesota area tourism bureau. I would imagine. Are you guys connected with them, or have you got the foot in the door with those people yet?
Well, I don't know about Rochester, but it's just one thing I've noticed in working in the industry for 8 years, that the tourism support mechanism in Minneapolis is incredibly weak.
Gotcha.
It's like nobody knows. There's nobody running the show. It's like I would always have people come up to me on tours saying, "What should we do?" Because we look up on the Minneapolis tour website
Right.
that says "Go to the Mall of America,"
Oh boy.
and you don't need a website for that. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No.
so we reach out in any sort of social media way we can. We look at we
Sure.
try to look at beer festivals. We try to look at tourism things in different areas. We have no budget for
Right.
advertising. Basically, our only
Yeah.
advertising is social media and our bus driving around. So that's pretty much
Yeah.
it. But we're always, with what time I have, I do try to research different outlets. But it's just like I said, I have 2-year-old twins. I'm a yoga instructor. My wife works a full-time job, so it's just
Yeah.
unfortunately we're trying. Once things, maybe when we start making money doing it, I'll have more time to expand into other areas. But right now, we're just trying to get the word out anywhere we can.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
this right here.
It makes tons of sense, and I can equate what you're trying to kind of bootstrap to the wine tour frenzies that are going on here in upstate New York. I mean, it's
Yeah.
insane. I mean,
You guys have quite a few wineries there, right? I mean,
well, no, agreed. But I think that to your point is, you still do have a very viable medium. The other point also too is that it just takes that one influential person or group to get involved with. Honestly, man, I've just recently got remarried, and I mean we've since been married, but anyway, getting to my point is one of the things that I thought was fairly clever is a lot of those like cheese ball, like wedding, engagement, banquets or whatever they call them. But I mean, it was companies like yours that kind of stood out there that kind of made sense because they weren't quite exactly that center focus of the DJ, the lights, the cake, the limo, the venue. You know what I mean? Like, oh, cool. So and again, I can't speak for your company. I don't know in terms of your region if there's any type of cost, but there's so many wedding banquets and things like that going on that I think if nothing else, that might be an easy breakthrough. The other thing too is you nailed it. I mean, social media is a no-brainer. Um, I would highly encourage you to potentially bring on an intern if you could do that, or a college student to get the 21 and over, buffer out of the way. But I would definitely recommend getting on to doing some live streaming. Establish maybe like a Periscope account or a Meerkat account, or honestly, I don't know how that really might work, but believe it or not, maybe even Snapchat. I think you really have to um, you really have to kind of throw your hat in the game with sort of you never know. I mean, I'm not dismissing our traditional platforms for social media, but
no.
I can definitely tell you that your product makes tons of sense. Okay, you ready? You guys may probably not be Buffalo Bills fans, but I can tell you after this weekend, right, exactly. But after this weekend's game, I saw more hysterical, drunken pictures of my friends doing karaoke in the limousines on the. I mean, right? It works. So my point is that you have to realize, which is exactly what your product is offering. It's like oh well, let's all go out, and Bob doesn't have to be the DD, or like I traveled to San Francisco this summer, for example, and you know what? I'll admit it. I did the tourist thing. I paid the money. I got on the double decker bus, and you know what? It was money well spent. I went to places that I kind of wanted to see. Didn't have the money to rent a car. Didn't know where the hell I was going. Same conversation. So I said, there's so many strengths with Hoppy Trolley that I think even in bootstrap mode, again, to your point, especially with a tourism board that's got their head up their ass. Excuse me, I hope Rochester, Minnesota doesn't come after me, but
No, everyone knows it, so it's not.
I think But I think you guys are definitely you're certainly at an advantage with what you're doing. So I mean I can commend you. I think that's great. I really do. I think it's an incredibly clever product that offers
Thank you.
an amazing amount of of scalability. I mean once you get
Sure.
that model kind of dialed in.
We have hooked up with a larger company that does tours nationwide.
Oh wow!
They're actually I can't say much about it, but they're contracting us to do larger events, basically. And we did a bid. They saw our reviews online. They liked what they saw. They wanted a smaller sort of feel and local flavor to it, and we put a bid in. They hired us, and we're going to be taking off with that early in the summer. So
nice.
So
Awesome.
that'll help a lot by itself, right there. It's if I could do a regular deal with them, would help out a lot financially. Just getting the word out there nationally.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I'd like to say too. First, I have firsthand experience with you folks, Hoppy Trolly. I had purchased a Groupon when you guys were on Groupon.
Yeah.
And having done that, though, I would definitely pay full pop for a tour because it is a great service, and especially, I mean, I obviously see the benefit for people that do live up in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but coming from Rochester or coming from basically anywhere else, especially with the Twin Cities area being a destination or a hotbed of beer brewing activity.
It's getting there. Yeah.
You go up there and from out of town, you don't know where the breweries are. You don't want to have to deal with, when do I leave here? How do I get there? What's the traffic like? Is there even parking? And where do I park? And how do I park? So I can just attest firsthand that your service is amazing. And we totally enjoyed our time with it. And it just took all the hassle of going. And because we had 8 people, you guys gave us a choice of, okay, what breweries do you want to hit? And we took advantage of that and said, hey, we'll hit this, this, and this. And you guys accommodated very easily. The pretzels were awesome. I can attest for those also. I mean,
some good pretzels.
Probably some of the best pretzels that I've had by far. But just again, just an amazing service. So if anybody else is catching this, call them, book a tour, get them, because it's definitely worth it.
Book online too.
Yeah,
it's always an option. Yeah, thank you, Gunnar. Appreciate that. And we you have to like you said about being flexible. It's like it's part of what we do. And I am born and raised in Northeast Minneapolis, and I love this city. And I love what's happening with the beer scene. It's becoming, like you said, more of a destination. So I'm just happy to do my part. So it's easy to do a good job when you like your job, I think, or it's easier. So I really love what I do. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem. No problem.
Absolutely, and I think that just like I said, looking at your website hoptrolley.com, if folks out there watching now want to get all of the latest, you can subscribe for their email updates. Looks like they'll be able to get information, and primarily the looks like the focal operation days are Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and you can choose from a number of different. Looks like a medley of mixes. Talk to us about this Social Cider Works. I see that is a common stop on all of the locations. Seems to be very popular.
We start there because they have a huge parking lot. And most of the parking for the breweries can be a little bit tricky if there's any parking at all. So we start there because they have a very nice parking lot. It's a great place too. It's very family friendly. You get your free drink there. So it's a good, and they have been incredibly cool with us from the very start. When I first approached them, I was just a guy with an idea for a business, and they've been very cool. And Social Cider Works is a great brewery. If you don't like cider, don't worry. They have regular beer there as well, but their specialty is cider. So Yeah, it's a great destination for families or just like a date night or buddies or something like that.
Gotcha.
So,
Now
No,
is
yeah.
now with all of the the breweries in town popping up, does it seem like cider is really, I don't want to say one of the dominant choices, but is it more prevalent than most people realize? 'Cause like I said, I mean, in upstate, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's cider,
mm.
places popping up left and right.
This is actually the only cider brewery that I know of. I don't know of any other cider breweries in Minneapolis. There's a lot. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of variety amongst the breweries. There's Belgian beer, there's German beer, there's traditional and experimental beers. It's an incredible scene because all the breweries work together.
Nice.
There's almost zero competition amongst them. They feel there's enough room for everybody.
Nice.
And they actually think the more breweries that come into the area, the more people that's going to attract overall.
Yeah.
And they've been absolutely right, because lower northeast Minneapolis, where I live, there's been about 10 breweries that have gone up in like a mile square radius.
Wow.
And now they're just on Fridays and Saturdays, they're just flooded with people nonstop. Right. People go from one brewery to the next. So it's actually been sort of a brilliant cooperation amongst all the breweries.
Right. Now I know another kind of trend that I'm seeing here in upstate New York with these wine tours and whatnot is, the bridal parties and the baby showers, and I've even seen groomsmen parties and stuff like that. Can folks get involved with something like that? Does that kind of fall into that same?
Oh yeah, I mean, I did a bachelor party this week.
Okay.
It was 8 guys. I mean, I think people need to understand that we're not a party bus.
Right. No, I want to clarify.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm
saying. Yeah. I mean, but I think you can enjoy yourself. I mean, the bachelor party I've done several bachelor parties, several bridal showers, and they've all had a great time because. Perfect. And I've even talked to them about how we're not a party bus, and they're like, "Yeah, we like your vibe a lot more." Right. Because it's not just getting drunk and puking on the bus. It's actually a mellow experience. So. Yeah, we've done a lot of things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, one of the things I would completely recommend, and this is just some feedback on my side of things, is that, when you're in this bootstrap mode, some of your biggest fans are those exact people that have already been through the door, Gunner and whatnot. My advice is on your website, maybe, you got home tours, gallery, community. Maybe part of the community is you kind of have like a, hey, what are our fans saying, and maybe some, just like video testimonials are huge. There's an auto dealership here in upstate New York that does, like, they don't do testimonials, they do like video testimonials, like, hey, here's Gunner, he just bought the new Honda Odyssey, blah blah blah. And I mean, I think it's so much more.
Gunner, you bought a Honda Odyssey, for God's sakes? Come on, man. That's just ridiculous, man. Come on.
I know, but I think to your point though is I think that helps kind of tie back into your social outreach as it is. You know what I mean? Because if people are on your site, kind of flabbergabbing about how awesome Hoppy Trolly is, I think that would be another reason to kind of get some of that additional traction out there in the social world.
No, it's good advice, and we are actually redoing our entire website as we speak with a whole different server. So it's actually going to be within the next 6 days or so. It's going to be a completely different website, basically. Nice. So anybody listening out there, keep an eye out for it. Same tag and all that, but just to be a different site. And this way you won't leave our website when you make a reservation. It'll stay right with us. Perfect. So I think that's
perfect.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So
now, for those people that are out there interested in booking, I mean, again, are there any times the season that are more peak than other? Do people, like, I guess my point is, like, how far in advance would you recommend, for somebody
Well,
to make these kind of arrangements, I guess, to take advantage of Hoppy Trolley?
like I said, we've only been open for about 5 months, so I'm not sure how we are going to be open all year long. So hopefully the winter stays pretty steady. But if you have a real specific date in mind, I would definitely recommend booking a couple weeks in advance.
Right. Okay.
Just because we usually have space, but you never know. It's if your heart's set on something, you're coming into town, you'll be here for a couple days. Yeah, I would definitely book a couple weeks in advance, because even if we're full, we'll make arrangements to stagger tours so you can still go on the Hoppy Trolly.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
So we're always looking to accommodate people in any way we can.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm a pretty cool guy. I'm like that. Sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
always trying to help out.
That's awesome.
Oh, and I wanted to touch upon too that Eden mentioned, and I took advantage of this. You have a little cooler in the back of your truck for people that if they buy a growler at a brewery, that you can put it in there and have it be cold and not worry about it getting warm as you're out touring around. So that's a great service, great feature.
And we also have water out of the side tap on the bus. So if you're thirsty, which would probably not be an issue when it's 40 below in Minneapolis, but once we roll back around to summertime again, it'll probably be much more desirable that way. Yeah.
No, I have a question. To Gunner's point, if you're traveling and you're going from microbrewery to microbrewery, what's that fine line, with the consumption on the no, so it's no.
No, you can drink on the bus.
Okay.
But you can drink what you buy at the breweries. So you buy a growler.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You can enjoy the growler on the bus. And I say this with every tour. I have one rule for drink on the bus: don't puke on my bus. That's all I ask.
Right.
It is a very simple rule. Please don't break it. That's it. That's the whole thing right there. Yeah.
Nice. But I mean,
which has not been a problem at all. People have been very they've had fun, but they're not that drunk. So
and I would have to think that most people, given the uniqueness of your service, would have in theory would keep that in mind. I mean, I've been on very few outings where that's happened, where that guy is there, and usually the bus driver senses it quickly enough to get them off the bus, so you get the side of the road heat, rock star, whatever.
And I've never had that problem, except for one time I did a bachelor tour or bachelor party, and they wanted to bring some Jägermeister and tequila on the bus.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, okay, because I was trying to be cool about it, and they seemed like they were pretty chill. But then by the end of the tour, it was I was trying to get them off my bus before something happened. So yeah.
Right.
So I don't do that anymore. I just allow the beer you buy on the bus.
Funny.
If it's it's over a 3-hour tour, you're probably gonna be fine. So,
right.
That was a close one.
Nice.
So that was
Nice.
a little finish.
Nice. And how about karaoke? You guys have a sound system in karaoke on the bus? I know Gunner was telling me he's like karaoke.
La, la, la.
The last tour I did, it was a great tour. It was a full bus, couples of 2 and 4, and they became like best friends over the tour. And one girl on the bus was a singer. She actually sings professionally, I guess. At nice. Weddings and things like that, and they kept trying to get her to sing the entire tour. And then by the end of the tour, they're screaming, "You gotta sing something! You gotta sing something!" And I was like, "Okay, well, we're not going to do that right now. If you want to, go ahead." But I don't think she wants to sing. She was pretty shy about it for a professional singer. But yeah,
right. Nice.
I've had plenty of people say they want a stripper pole. And I said, well, we're not going to do that. Yeah. There are most of the party buses do have stripper poles now.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. There you go.
Yeah, it's so that there are things out there. If you guys are looking for something like that, there are places to call, but that's not us. So yeah,
Right.
Funny. Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much that would be a safety hazard or a moving violation, or I don't know.
I don't think safety's the biggest concern.
No.
When you have a stripper pole and doing tequila shots on a party bus. So
Yeah.
But I'm seeing more and more of those when I go out on tours now. I'm seeing more and more party buses and things like that taking people around the breweries.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And just a quick question: what has the receptiveness been to all of the breweries and establishments that you have gone to? I mean, has it been pretty positive, or they're like, oh, I mean, how's that been?
I mean, it's been great because basically I'm just dropping off people who probably would not have gone to their establishment under regular circumstances.
Gotcha.
So it's been very positive. The only thing they really ask of me is if it's going to be a busy night for them, and I have a full bus to email them and tell them they're coming, so they can staff up properly, and that's really been about the only thing. But I think most of the breweries just love us, especially the smaller breweries.
Sure.
Right.
It's a place called 56 Brewery in Minneapolis. It's my personal favorite right now. But they don't even have a pour license yet. They're just giving free samples and selling growlers.
Right.
And they opened up at the same time we did, and it's like a speakeasy. It's way in the back of this industrial building. It's hard to find, and I just love it because it's so local and they're so friendly, and the beer is fantastic. So, but they're like, every time we come, they're like, thank you for bringing customers.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah. And the bigger ones, we don't even go to Surly because, what's the point?
Right.
They're so huge. They don't really need us. So
Right.
I try to concentrate on the smaller breweries. At least we can support locally.
Do you get people that want to do that? I mean, like for example.
Oh, I mean, I've been to Surly on like private tours.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
But it's not part of our regular tour schedule.
Right.
But I don't really recommend people going to Surly just because it's if you want to go to a few breweries in one day, go to the ones go to the smaller ones.
Right.
Go to the ones where you actually have like a connection.
Sure.
With the people who are actually, because that's just as important as how good the beer is.
Right.
Beer is important, of course, taste, but to also like have some sort of customer service and connection with the people who are serving you the beer.
Right.
People are passionate about what they do and love their product and just want to get it out there. That's, to me, that's almost as good as the beer, really.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great idea. I mean, I can certainly see, like, again, the scalability of this. It makes a ton of sense. And I know a lot of times everyone's like, oh, this is a great idea, but you're like, well, this great idea needs to be able to, pay my bill. So you need to grow it, but
yeah, that's the thing. We have twins. They're 2 years old, and I tell people like,
that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. But it's like I tell people that, and said that you started a business when you had twins. I'm like, yeah, my wife and I didn't think we were quite busy enough. We were like, you can't get wetter than wet, so you might as well just jump in and do it. And we did, and we're very happy we did. It's been it's really been a lot of fun, and but everybody wants to be my wife's best friend because she's so personable on the phone and just a great person. Right. I go on tours, people say, hey, is your wife here? I'm like, no, nice. I did the driving. Right. And they're like, she's so nice. I'm like, well, I'm nice too. I can, you'll find out. Give me a little time. I'll win you over.
Nice. Yeah.
That's
excellent.
Yeah. Well, I married beyond my, league. So it's, I was a lucky guy that way.
Nice. That's awesome.
I'm the first to admit that. My wife, I don't know, has, settled for me. I don't know why, but I'm very happy that she did. So
that's right.
Right. Well, it sounds like you guys are great for each other because she's supporting you, and you just came up with with an idea, and she said, "Go for it." And I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's amazing.
She's always been that way for me, and this, especially this, she's been like, she really wanted, because she has the regular 9 to 5 job during the day
Mhm.
with the health insurance and all that, which everybody needs, of course.
Right.
But it's our dream to like make this big enough where she can quit her job, and we can have more kids, and she can spend more time with them, and we can just run the business together from home.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. So that's the goal. Eventually, we'll see how that turns out. But yeah.
That's fantastic. No, are there any like whiskey tours? I know we talked about plenty of beer.
They're just starting to open up some distilleries in Minneapolis. There's a few already, but I don't think there's not really enough right now to sort of warrant the tour. But I think give it a few months, because I know there's at least 2 or 3 that are opening up soon. That will be able to actually. I want to do a like whiskey or our distillery tour.
Yeah, what's been happening in upstate, because we've seen a pretty significant boom, 1911, Iron Smoke, Black Button. I mean, there's a number of them, but the interesting thing about how some of these these spirits, the establishments really kind of got their foot in the door is they did a lot of kind of like open houses, sort of like some pairing, pairings, whatever, like
Pairing.
Whiskey and food, with the primary incentive being the whiskey. But
Sure.
I think also too, one of the things I noticed that for example, almost like you guys are already doing, maybe like that one weekend day, it's like whiskey Sunday or whiskey Saturday or whatever. So that this way, to your point, you're specifically focusing, your that particular consumer to that one day.
Yeah.
So people are asking for that. I don't know, but I know a lot of times, to your point, if you are approaching some of these like small batch bootstrap, spirit establishments, you can just say, hey, look, we're both in the same boat. I know we're trying to bootstrap our businesses. Can we just, maybe, focus on one day and do like an exclusive, afternoon pairing or whatever. But, I'd be all over that. I just think it's a great idea. I mean, you had me at pretzels, by the way. I'm like salivating.
Well, there's a place that's really great called it's called Bent, and it's a brewstillery. They do beer and whiskey, sour mash, and vodka and gin.
Yes.
But Minneapolis has these ridiculous laws. I mean, we're a very liberal area, but when it comes to alcohol, we are living in the 1920s. I swear to God.
Wow.
Yes.
And Bent, they make this fantastic gin, and they can't serve you any at their distillery because the breweries can't serve beer and hard liquor. So it's just the most ridiculous thing you ever heard. But it's we're starting to come around a little bit in the area. We're allowing growler sales on Sundays now, and we're loosening up some other laws. But it's just been like just clawing to get into the 21st century with our laws. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Right.
I mean, you can go in California. I mean, San Francisco, you can go to like Walgreens 2 a.m. on a Sunday and buy a bottle of scotch. I mean,
right.
Here it's like, we're dry on Sunday. Liquor stores are closed.
Right.
It's silly.
It is.
I mean,
somehow they've convinced, at least down here in Rochester, the liquor stores are convinced that they don't want to open on Sundays. I mean, so when it comes up, they say, we don't want to open on Sundays. We're going to lose business on our other days.
Right,
and,
right.
And not to jump on a soapbox, but I think it's ridiculous.
Does that make any sense? I mean,
it doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. It's been, it's been years of this. People trying to get, alcohol sales on Sunday in the cities. And think about this. I live about 25 minutes away from Wisconsin, which you can buy alcohol on Sundays.
Yeah. And in a grocery store.
Yeah. So what's the point? I mean, I'm guessing it has something to do with Wisconsin not wanting to lose those Sunday alcohol sales.
Right.
And we have a lot of people that, the Minnesota and Wisconsin kind of blend that way a lot, because a lot of people like work and go back and forth, and we see Wisconsin, political ads on local TV during election cycles.
Right.
So there's a lot of mixing right there. So I'm guessing it has something to do with that, but I have no evidence of that. But I'm guessing it's something to do with that. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's frustrating, but we're starting to make progress in that area.
Right. Well, and I have a running bet with some of my friends, and not that I partake of the marijuana, but I'm convinced that
the marijuana.
I'm convinced that we will have legal recreational marijuana in Minnesota before we have Sunday sales.
Right.
Just because of the speed that it's taking for both things. I mean, so we have medical marijuana now, and I think it's going to steamroll and pass the Sunday sales. Well, and Beer Disciple says not a partaker either, though it is legal in our state. Yeah. It's coming around.
It's coming around.
I think because right now Denver's making, what is it, $10 million in tax revenue every quarter.
Yeah,
at least. I'm not sure the stats, but they're making a huge amount of tax revenue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And opening up a whole new industry. I mean, you can fly into Denver now and go on a pot skiing trip.
Right.
They pick you up in the van. You get high in the van.
Right.
You go skiing.
I was just about to say that. My buddy, there's a taxi where you can get in the taxi, and they just they have a full it's crazy.
I mean, wow. So just it's always about money. So I'm thinking you might be right, Gunnar. It's just the amount of money they're making is so insane. Other states have got to start following.
But did you see? They were saying that the banks won't take their money. Did you see that article they were doing a while back?
I didn't.
Because the government doesn't know how to regulate it. I don't know.
Right. Well, the banks are federally regulated.
Right.
And since marijuana is still a federally illegal drug, even though individual states can legalize it,
right?
Because banks are federally regulated, they can't do business.
Yeah.
Although I've heard that there are ways, I guess, around that too now.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I mean,
I don't know if it's like credit unions or money repositories. I don't know. I'm sure there's some ways to get around that.
A bank will want to take your money eventually.
Yeah.
Right. Eventually.
It's a matter of getting around whatever legal loopholes they want to throw in front of you. But yeah. You might have a point, Gunnar, because it's the sheer volume of tax revenue that comes up. It may become, because here it's almost like more of some people actually look at it as a religious issue with alcohol.
Mm. Yeah.
They don't want bars are for Saturday, churches for Sunday. So don't keep the liquor stores closed. It's ridiculous, but it's part of really old mindset that still sticks around Minneapolis.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
People from New York are like, "What the fuck is going on in Minneapolis right now?"
I don't know.
That is some backward ass thinking right there.
It's weird. I mean, we deal. It's funny. I mean, again, I'm in upstate New York, but unfortunately, a lot of what happens out of the central metro New York area affects us. And the one thing that's interesting, just on the news tonight, they were talking about Uber, and Albany is just they're completely freaking out about allowing Uber to come into our state, and I'm just it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So it's this is completely different conversation, but think about medicinal marijuana coming into New York State. It's Like, I don't know enough people that are burning on the chairlifts or out on the trails when I'm riding my bike. It's like, guys, it's already here. You know, I don't know what you're worried about, for crying out loud.
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yay.
But Uber's been like well, I mean, Uber's been exploding around Northeast Minneapolis because so many people want rides from brewery to brewery. Right. And we just had the zombie crawl here in Minneapolis.
Nice.
And it was insane. But there were Uber drivers everywhere. And it was causing a bit of a problem.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah, because the cab drivers are competing with the Uber drivers, and people were driving like maniacs. I mean, I was downtown because I dropped some people off from a tour, and I got stuck downtown because the cab drivers and the Uber drivers were just fighting for position, and we were barely moving. And it was a really dangerous situation.
Right, right.
That's not all Uber drivers' fault. It's just like that thrown in with like a lack of a police presence in my opinion was really made the situation pretty volatile. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think you bring up a good point, because it's like, you know, if you're running a service, i.e. Hoppy Trolly, I mean, that appears to be, you know, along the parameters of a legit business, where, you know, if there's just some random Joe in his Prius being like, "Hey, I'm Mr. Uber," you know, I mean, you know, like, to your point, I mean, is it legit? Is it not legit? Is it causing a problem? Is it not causing a problem? I mean, especially if you're, you know, if you're a police authority, I mean, I would look at you as a business being probably far more valid in terms of what this guy's doing, you know, versus some, you know, yin yang in his Prius saying, "I'm here because of Uber."
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and like, honestly, it's like it's the cab drivers who are almost worse than the Uber drivers, just because they were so pissed off that they were taking ridiculous risks trying to get their fares where they wanted to go. So, right. Yeah, but my first priority whenever I take a tour out is safety.
Sure.
Obviously. And that was just a really bad night. I was like, man, they don't have anywhere near enough traffic cops out there. Like, where I got stuck, there was no traffic cop at all. And we had people exiting from the freeway, parking ramp, and another street, and it was just stuck, and people were honking, and I was surprised no one got out of their cars and started fighting. Honestly, it was ridiculous. But so come to Minneapolis for the zombie crawl. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think it's good. I mean, it's good for tourism and stuff, and draws attention, to something other than the mega mall, but still, need more presence. It's grown so fast, I think, is the problem. The zombie crawl a few years ago was just really kind of just not a handful of people, but not that big of a deal.
Right.
And now it's tens of thousands of people smashed into like a 5-block area. So. And
who know what? I mean, it's obviously who is there any particular agency that is it a non-for-profit that's running it, or who's running that event? I
just know that they have people that organize year round now. They actually have people are paid to organize a zombie crawl, and they try to get as many people in the one area, and then they're all counted, and then they have the biggest zombie crawl or something like that, and I don't know, it's one of my sons is 27. And he worked downtown as a server, and he was trying to explain to me, and I was like, this just sounds insane.
Right.
So
yeah,
I was like, that's I'm giving my age away there, because I'm like, oh, it's those kids and their noise.
Right. Those darn kids.
Shake your fist harder, boy. Come on. It's like, but yeah, it's not. Well, when I was 27, it probably wasn't a great time, but now it's like
Right.
Nice.
I didn't realize people were like commenting on the side here. I just noticed that.
Oh yeah.
I'm new to chat. I'm new to chat room. Sorry, that's not. That's my first podcast ever. So.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we've been chatting with Beer Disciples. They've been giving us some good insight about what they're doing. You can find them on looks like online as well on Twitter at beer underscore disciples. Craft beer lover, video reviews, disciple of that liquid in the glass. I can't stop exploring. Hashtag craft beer. Nice, excellent. Give them a follow. But yeah, I mean, as I said, it is great to have you on craft beer chat or Beer Blab.
Thank you.
And again, I'm grateful to Gunnar for putting this together, because I kind of it twisted my arm to do something on Tuesday. We also do a bike chat blab on Thursday. So if you are interested and you want to find out more about cycling, we kind of deviate that way in addition. But this focus right now is on craft beer, and again, it's great to have you on board. It sounds like your business is just about on its way to kind of blowing up, and we only can see excellent things for you guys in the future. That's fantastic.
So. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear my twins crying in the background now. So
that's quite right. And like I said before, firsthand experience, the service that you guys offer is great. And so if anybody wants to book tours of the breweries up in the Twin Cities, hit up Hoppy Trolly and just I want to see you guys do really well. And next time I go up and do a tour, we'll be probably hitting some other breweries, but definitely worth the time and the money to do it. Just again, coming from out of town, it's a great way to explore and check out those breweries without having to worry about how to navigate and how to park and all the little things that kind of give you a headache and take the fun out of it. So great service.
And we also, thank you, Gunnar. And we also try to give you guys, I try to give you guys an idea of the history of the city and an overall view. It's not just about, breweries are obviously the center point, but I also try to just tell you guys about the Twin Cities and things like that. So it's good for somebody who's not from Minneapolis, because you have to learn a little bit about it.
Awesome. Right. Now, how many people can fit on your trolley, on your bus?
12.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to know, just because I know that we had a group of 8, and that was a nice fit, but I think we had a couple of empty seats. So
yeah, we it getting any bigger than that, and then you have to get a limo license.
Oh, okay.
And that's a whole another level of insurance and training. So, and plus, 12 is big enough for me. I like to have like a bit of an intimate experience with people. I actually talk to them and get to know them a little bit instead of just, shuffling them around from place to place. So,
right. You get a little more intimate, a little more one-on-one.
Yeah. I think it's part of the fun of it. So, yeah.
Nice.
Excellent. All right.
I'm going to sign off here, guys, because my kids are trying to sleep, and I'm probably keeping away from my voice in the background here. But
Right.
Ears like bats. Right. Thank you so much, Gunnar.
No problem. Thank you for coming on and talking about your product and your service. And
thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's great.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Great.
And out there, it's hoppytrolly.com. So check us out.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Awesome. Great product. What a great idea. And wish the very best for Hoppy Trolly. Boy, it only makes me sad that I'm just not close enough to Rochester, Minnesota, because I would have to tell you that would be on my list of things to do on a regular basis. And Gunnar, it sounds like you've got a pretty big homework list of places to visit.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I can't remember how many breweries he said that there are up in the Twin Cities.
Don't even know.
Yeah, I want to say it's like close to 60. And I mean, so when I did it in the spring, I think it was early summer. We only hit 4 of them.
Wow.
And so, you could go up and do different breweries every weekend.
Wow.
And again, I just happened to, actually, my wife found that they had a special deal on Groupon.
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, is this something that you'd like to do?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And then she's like, "Well, hey, let's see if some of our friends want to get in on this too." And so, we put the call out, "Hey, we're thinking of getting this deal on Groupon. What do you guys think?" And so some of our friends were like, "Yeah, we're in. We'll check it out."
Wow.
And we really had no idea of what to expect, but we booked it. And some of these friends were they have celiac, and so we tried to. So when they said, "Oh, well, you got enough people, we'll custom make a tour for you. Tell us what breweries you want to hit." And
Nice.
so we're like, "Well, you're already starting at the cider works, so that'll cover anyone with gluten intolerance or celiac."
Oh,
And
wow.
so we said, "Well, there's a brewery that they do gluten-free beers, so we'll hit there."
Wow.
And we did try to hit that distillery, thinking that they would serve spirits at the distillery, not realizing the kind of backwards law, um, where so they could only serve beer, and then a regular brewery. So we thought we kind of covered it all, but then unfortunately the distillery couldn't serve us any spirits. But
Right. Gotcha.
we had beer, and that was good. But again, it's just a great service, especially coming from a little bit out of town, to be able to say, "You know what, we park in one location
Right.
and you drive us around, and we don't have to worry about anything."
That's awesome.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's great. That's a great idea. I tell you, I think that is, that's got an amazing scalable potential. I think that if he was really able to get it dialed and got some money behind him, I think the whole brand Hoppy Trolley could just, kill it. Because I mean, think about
right.
like Denver, where microbreweries are blowing up right now, or even here in upstate New York. I mean, I know that there's a good number of microbreweries that would be great to go and do that. And I'm sure there's limo companies that are doing that, but I
Right.
think the whole premises of Hoppy Trolley, I think is got much more appeal to it. So therefore, I mean,
Right.
no, it's all about marketing. I mean, it's the same concept, just like, oh, that name's a little catchier, the concept's a little bit more clever than just renting a limo and going on a wine tasting tour. So,
Right. Right. Well, and to his credit too, the fact that he wants to differentiate himself from a party bus. Which,
right,
you look
exactly.
at it, a party bus and his bus look about the same. I mean, if you think about it, they're both vans or big buses.
Right, exactly.
But the fact that he wants to keep it um, a little more specific and a lot more chill and no stripper poles, I think that's great. Because I mean, there are those of us, myself included, I wouldn't want to get on a party bus or book a party bus. It just wouldn't be my thing.
Yeah.
But hey, this thing was awesome, and the chill attitude and the just being able to relax. I think I think he's going to do really well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
great. All right. Well, listen. Let me wrap it up. I need to get going. I got a busy day tomorrow. But I
All
am
right.
very excited. By the way, if I may just jump in and
Yeah.
give a plug to Graham Cycles. They
Yes.
are going to be our guest on Bike Chat this coming Thursday, 9:01 Eastern Standard Time, 6:01 Pacific Time in Gunnar Soros land, or those of you folks tuning in. But if you've not had a chance to check them out, good friend of mine bootstrapped this company, had kind of like the normal 9 to 5 job, just decided one day, look, I'm done. I want to build bikes. And it's pretty amazing. That's what he's been doing. He's been doing pretty well doing it. So it's Graham Cycles, kind of like Graham Cracker, but check them out. They are also on Instagram as well. But we're looking forward to talking to owner Joe Graham on Thursday. But in the meantime, Gunnar, I really appreciate you putting all of this together. Craft Beer Blab was a huge success. Looks like Hoppy Trolly certainly found value add. And if you could show me that choice of beer one more time that you were okay. And now is that
Deschutes?
Deschutes? Now is that primarily your region? Because I don't.
No, this is. I think they're out of. I want to say they're from where Ross is from. I think the Pacific Northwest. Yes, Bend, Oregon.
Okay. Deschutes. All right.
So hopefully you can get it in your region. So this is. I shouldn't say was because I still have a couple more in my fridge. It's a fresh hopped pale ale. So it's 6.1 ABV, alcohol by volume. Basically, it's only put out, I guess, in October. So they use the freshest hops. They, again, same theory as Surly Wet. They pick the hops one day, they brew it up the next day, let it ferment, and then you have the freshest hopped beer that you can get. And they say hints of light citrus, juicy grapefruit, intense aroma of hops, brewed mere hours after harvest.
Right.
And I can attest, it is a great beer. I mean, it's hoppy. It's not overly hoppy. It's not a huge amount of alcohol. It's got a nice aroma, and you do get that grapefruit flavor and citrus. So I couldn't tell you what hops that they used to get that, but whatever they are, they did a great job and
Nice.
Perfect. Great. I mean, I definitely will look forward to this next year too. So.
Excellent. And so it sounds like it is. You'd say what? It's a seasonal, correct? So it sounds like it's a seasonal.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it would be a seasonal.
Gotcha.
So right after the hop harvest is when they put it out. So that's great. And what was that beer that you were drinking again?
It was Three Heads Brewery, and it was called
Nice.
Double Skunk. I set the bottle down on the counter, but it's a
No, that's fine.
Three Heads Brewing. They're actually out of upstate New York. So I mean,
Okay.
again, they're really, I tell you, it's interesting. There's definitely a handful of pretty significant standout microbreweries coming out of upstate New York. Another really good one is Naked Dove. If you have a chance to check out Naked Dove, they've really been coming on pretty strong and started to get some good recognition, as well as some other smaller ones that I really can't think of the names off the top of my head. But anyway, I mean, my point is just even in Rochester, Minnesota, there definitely seems to be this kind of micro sprawl of these little brew houses, which I think is great. I mean, ironically, living and growing up in Rochester, I mean, it was Genesee Brewery, and that's great because Genesee beer is good if you don't live in Rochester, but I don't mind it. But ironically, there are a number of smaller breweries that have certainly come about in this area, so that's great. So it's exciting
Right.
stuff. Definitely, appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Great
No problem.
on Craft Beer Blab. I am going to sign off for the night, but thanks so much.
All right. Have a great night. I will talk to you on Thursday.
All right, you too, my friend. Thank you.
All right.